Well, along with you at home, the White House is watching the developments with Hurricane Irma, of course, waiting to respond. I want to bring in Hill's newspaper White House columnist Niall Stonage. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
I want to ask you first and foremost, on the heels of responding to Harvey, what did the administration do right? What do they need to continue in that momentum?
The administration's response to Harvey was pretty widely praised, even from people who aren't necessarily normally big fans of the president. I think he showed concern, I think he showed focus, and I think he showed compassion during the times he visited Texas. So if they continue that, I think from a political standpoint, that'll be fine.
The expectations are pretty high. He has to keep this up. Does that mean that we see him go down to Florida this week? Does that mean that we see additional aid? I mean, we just saw aid passed on Friday. He signed that bill into law. The $15 billion is not exclusive to the devastation in Texas.
No, that's right. It can be used for anything that happens in the consequence or in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. I think that we will probably expect to see him visit Florida at some point, but it'll be the same calculus as we saw in Texas. He wants to go there, I assume. He wants to show his compassion for the people, but he doesn't want to go so soon as to distract from any emergency efforts.
What tightrope is he walking? Because he's at Camp David this weekend with his cabinet. Politics is as usual. It's still happening. How does he balance those two really forces?
Well, the White House has been stressing that he's constantly monitoring Hurricane Irma, that he's getting briefed in that all the time. And yet, at the same time, Camp David will be the venue for a full cabinet meeting. And I'm sure, obviously, Irma will be discussed, but they'll also be looking at things like tax reform, other things that are on the president's legislative agenda. I actually think, in general, one of the big challenges of being president for anyone is to deal with a huge story, a huge event like Irma, and all the other things.
He does have to continue, like you said, tax reform. I mean, these things have to get done, and we're speaking about how this hurricane could take really the oxygen out of the room. So, but he has to be sensitive as the week approaches.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can't seem out of step or discordant with the mood of the nation. But at the same time, being president is never about only dealing with one thing. I think that's the complexity of it. That's the calculus that you have to deal with if you're in the White House.
Niall Stonage, I think I said your name incorrectly at the beginning. So thank you so much for joining us. We love having you on.
Always a pleasure.
Appreciate it.